Welcome to the 10th episode of Spoken into the Ether, where I promised to read a story titled Trespassing, but instead will read one titled Wanted. I believe that makes me a liar, but here's the truth. I read Trespassing, and while reading it, I realized it was a story better delivered through the eyes rather than the ears. I wish I knew that before I spent an hour recording it, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. Let my loss be your gain. Wanted, the story I'm about to read, was published in the Moon Rabbit Review in 1996. I can see from the original Word file that not only did I print this story for submission, but I even included a floppy disk in the mailing envelope. That's how things were done back in the day. I think of Wanted as my O.J. Simpson story. There's also a touch of Travis Bickle, the nutjob protagonist of the film Taxi Driver. Nothing but winners around here. Okay, here we go. Wanted. February 2nd. Ham, cheese, no mayo, mustard, no lettuce, and plenty of tomatoes. Yes, sir, I said, slicing the roll into 2 equal halves. I grabbed a handful of ham. What kind of ham is that? I don't know, I said. I want boar's head. Okay, sir, I said. I'll have to ask my manager. But then I remembered Mike took off early today. I was stumped. Check this out. He pointed to the TV set above the corner table. Old footage of J.D. McKnight was on the 7 o'clock news. It was the day of his arrest. A man wearing a gray suit with a purple tie stood next to him. He cuffed J.D. and J.D. looked sad. The camera zoomed up close to his wrist and froze there, so I got a good look at J.D.'s right palm. I still don't know about boar's head, sir, I said. Okay, just give me whatever. What's up with this McKnight thing? I hear the trial starts this week. I don't know, sir, I said. J.D.'s palm was still on the screen. He had a short lifeline, but his fame line ran long and graceful and arced around the top half of his hand like a rainbow. I piled little heaps of shredded lettuce on top of the ham while the news anchor spoke. As all of America surely knows by now, Jason Dominic McKnight, best known for his role as Dr. Sharkey in Primetime's Trauma Center, was arrested this past winter by the New York Police Department. I scooped up some mayo. Hey, no mayo, weren't you listening? I'm sorry, sir. I slapped the mayo back in the container and squeezed a thick squiggle of mustard over the bread. The news anchor continued. It was only a year ago, on a cold December night, when Bernadette McKnight was shot 3 times in the head in Madison Square Park. The sale totaled $4.47, sub, Coke, and chips. He did it, the customer said. Look at that scumbag. Rich, pompous ass. I hope he gets zapped. He gave me $4.50 and told me to keep the change. 4 crumpled dollar bills and 2 quarters. One of the quarters was Canadian. February 4th. Bad men should not be on television. I can list many reasons, but the most important one is that everybody watches television. Kids, old folks, rich folks, poor folks. TV is our national bond. When we watch, we become the national family. But Channel 6 was doing a feature story on J.D. McKnight, even though he was a bad man. Everybody was doing a story on J.D. He was suddenly back on everyone's mind, on every channel, even PBS. I think JD is guilty, I told Maureen. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Maureen and I worked together Tuesday and Sunday nights. We used to work a lot more together, but she enrolled in some night courses last month. How are the night classes going? Night classes? That's why you don't work on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Oh, right. They're going fine. Good, I'm glad. Between 5:30 and 7:30, we're very busy. I don't get to talk much to Maureen during these hours. Not like now. Do you ever think about aliens? I asked her. No, Dwayne, I don't. I think about aliens a lot. I think if an alien wanted to take over the world, he would do it through television. He would hypnotize us and make us do things we don't want. And I bet you think that's already happened. Maybe, I said. People started arriving. I made so many subs that my fingers cramped up. Maureen took care of the drinks and rang up the sales. One of her friends stopped in to say hello. Maureen slipped her a free bag of potato chips. I want Maureen to be my friend, but I'm not so sure she wants to be mine. I like Maureen. I like her a lot. I want Maureen to be my girlfriend. But first we have to be friends. Then we can become lovers. I like girls, but when I call them up and they either say they're busy or if they're mean, they just hang up. I'm most lonely at night, sleeping alone in my bed. Sometimes I think of Maureen. Other times I think of Barbara. Barbara was nice when we first met. Then she turned mean and hung up whenever I called her. Then she never picked up her phone, screening all her messages with her answering machine. Hello, you've got Barb and Barb's got you. Please leave a message, honey. I left messages, but she never returned them. So I thought maybe she forgot my number, so I repeated it in all my messages. Then I thought maybe her machine was broken, so I tried to find her house. But I couldn't track her down, and she never called me again. I still think of her, though, late at night, when I'm lonely and cold. I don't think television should be dirtied with bad people, I said to Maureen as we cleaned up. I was sponging the tables clean. Okay, Dwayne, she said. She was totaling up the sales for the night. Mike never lets me do that. He said I'm not ready for that kind of a responsibility. Maybe in a couple of months. Only good people should be on TV. Maureen nodded and checked off some stuff on the register tape with her bright red pen. If I had it my way, only Superman and Jesus H. Christ would be on television. Maureen laughed. I like it when she laughs. If I can make her laugh all the time, we can become lovers. They would have their own talk shows, I continued. Jesus Christ would interview all the good people in the world, and Superman would take him there. They would interview Mother Teresa and the Pope. Maureen was still laughing. Oh God, Dwayne, you can be such a riot sometimes, she said, and I felt warm and wanted. February 5th. I had to go to the post office, then to the bank, then to the grocery store for some blue cheese. But I didn't feel like doing any of that. I was tired. So on my day off, I watched television. Jason Dominic McKnight versus the State of New York was on one channel. Another was discussing the trial. There were 4 people sitting around the round table. One guy looked like Groucho Marx. The other guy looked like Ed Norton. The third guy was really fat. and the woman had big red zits all over her forehead. Groucho. If McKnight weren't a public figure, a star of such high stature, he'd be convicted months ago. The amount of evidence against McKnight is overwhelming. Norton. Agreed. Really, the blame must be cast on the judicial system. There's a woman dead, shot 3 times in the head, in cold blood. And the murderer, and we all know who the hell that is, will most likely get away with it. Zitface. I wouldn't give up so easily, gentlemen. After all, this is the same system that declared abortion legal. It's not as if we're living in some fascist state. Let's put things in perspective, shall we? I turned the channel before the fat man's turn. Channel 6 was doing a story about its upcoming movie, I Still Loved Him, Bernadette's story, which was being filmed here in New York. They were wrapping up the shoot in a couple of weeks. Reporter. Is what you claim true? Bernadette was still in love with McKnight? Spokesperson. We have reliable sources that say yes, Bernadette was indeed in love with J.D. McKnight. In fact, those very words, I love you, J.D., may have been her very last. Reporter. Wow, there you have it. Life is stranger than fiction. I turned the television off and cracked open a beer. In love with him, she said. In love with a bad man, a murderer. In love with the person who murdered you. And me, a good man who's never murdered anybody? Who loves me? Everything is wrong in this world. Nothing makes sense. I bummed around for the next couple of hours. I sat in my chair and stared out my tiny window. I watched people walk back and forth, carrying shopping bags, kids, guns, drugs. I called the shop to find out if they needed any help. Maureen? Is that you? Yeah, it's me. Who's this? I thought tonight was a school night, I said. Dwayne? I got up from my chair. You told me you had class on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Calm down, Dwayne. I chugged the rest of the beer. You lied to me. Dwayne, my class was canceled. The professor was sick. In my mind, I imagined the number 10. My numbers are made of those long and skinny balloons clowns use to knot up animal figures. The 1 is pink. The 0 is orange. I counted down and imagined more numbers until I was left with the single pink balloon. Dwayne? Really sick. Will he be all right? I saw on the news that there's this flesh-eating bacteria now, and he's an old man. He just gets sick, okay? Okay? I ran my finger down the side of the pink balloon, and it squeaked and quivered. Dwayne, are you still there? I'm sorry, I said to Maureen, ashamed. I don't like being angry, but sometimes it just happens. Look, why did you call? Do you need any help there tonight? No, we're fine. Bye. I wanted to ask you, I said. The line clicked a couple of times, then wheezed and buzzed and crackled. I wanted to ask you, Maureen, but I couldn't go on because the dial tone came on, and there was nobody there. February 7th. The city was bright and cold and windy when I saw Bernadette McKnight. She was wearing a tiny blue dress that squished her breasts and behind really tight. She was walking on the opposite side of 51st. I was walking up with my delivery, and there she was on the opposite side. Barricades blocked the street. A mob crowded the sidewalk, and cameras whirled everywhere. That's her, isn't it? I asked a passerby. Who? I pointed. That's Bernadette, but I thought she was dead. 3 bullets in her head. You can't survive something like that, can you? Can you? What planet are you from? He said, and quickly walked away. He glanced back and shook his head. All right, give us some room, people. A big guy in a New York Giants jacket yelled. He moved his arms and pushed the people away. Sitting next to him was a man wearing a green cowboy hat and a brown scarf around his neck. His chair had the word Director written across its back in bold black letters. Please, people, the big guy said. We have to get moving. I threaded around the barricades to get a better look at her. Somebody grabbed my shoulder, but I shook him off. She looked a lot like Bernadette, but it wasn't her. Hey, buddy, the big guy said. He was one of those people with one long eyebrow. That's not Bernadette McKnight, I told him. The guy grabbed my arm and started to pull me away, but the director stopped him. That's not Bernadette, I told the director, and he laughed. He shooed the guy away, and I was glad. Well, she believes she is, which I guess is the important thing, the director said. Then he leaned closer and whispered, She's terrible, but you didn't hear it from me. Cannot act, you see. Doesn't really understand what this role means. I laughed and he laughed with me. Say, he said, what do you do for a living, kind sir? I make sandwiches, I said. And I bet you're very good at it. I'm the best. He laughed again. I think that sandwich is for me, right? Ham on rye? I checked the bag and nodded. Thank you. He bit into the sandwich and made noises. Say, I've been saving one of my extra spots for my son's best buddy, but he can't make it. What do you say? It doesn't pay squat, but you'll be in the movie, and you'll save me some hassle. I thanked him and told him yes. He sent for a girl, and she came back with a card with a big signature. Here you go, she said, and slid the card into a clear plastic thing that had a clip attached on top. This is your ID. You won't be let in without it. I didn't need it today, I said. Just bring it tomorrow, okay? Or is that too difficult for you? She was a mean one. February 8th. This was what really happened. J.D., Simon said, his lawyer. Don't make this any harder. J.D. McKnight, shining in a brilliant white suit, paced nervously. He struck a match and lit up. The smoke drifted up and hung over his head. He faced the window and spoke carefully. I killed her. Don't, Simon said, his face buried in his hands. I shot her 3 times in the head. Stop, Simon said. I don't know why 3 times. She was dead after the first shot. Simon got up so fast that his chair fell backwards. He rushed J.D., turned him around, grabbed him by the shoulders, and shoved him hard against the window. God damn you, J.D., why are you doing this? J.D. smiled and said, Because you're my protection, because you can get me out. Then he started crying. Simon let him go and faced me. His face was red and veins popped out of his forehead. Because I need your help, J.D. said, crying and smiling at the same time. I'm your counsel, J.D. I cannot give you salvation, nor can I give you forgiveness. That's between you and God, Simon said. J.D. hastily wiped his eyes with his shirt sleeve. So you knew too. You just didn't want to hear it. Simon shuffled the papers around his desk and said something, but I wasn't listening anymore. Instead, I thought about Maureen. I was going to tell her everything, and it would be like this. Maureen, I said, shining in a brilliant white suit like J.D., you must believe me. He's guilty. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, my Maureen said. My Maureen was wearing her usual, the yellow pants and brown t-shirt with the Ultra Sub logo over her heart, stretched out of shape by the curve of her big breasts. Then I will prove his guilt, I said. Exhibit A. J.D. McKnight has no alibi for that night. That doesn't prove a thing, Dwayne. That's true. We really can't prove anything, can we? Let's be serious. Everything we dig up is fake, so let's blow by the lies and get to the real stuff. This was cue for Bernadette McKnight to enter Ultra Sub. There were 3 holes in her head, but besides that, she looked okay. She ordered half a sub with just tomato and lettuce because she was watching her weight. It was my husband, Maureen, Bernadette said. She finished her half sub in no time at all. I gave her a bag of potato chips and a Coke. She smiled. Now do you believe me, Maureen? I said. He is guilty. There is no doubt in my mind. Now we can be lovers, I said. I don't see why not, my Maureen said. February 10th. Mike tells me that you're going to be in the pictures, Dwayne, Maureen said. Sure, I guess, I said to her, playing it cool. It's the first time she's actually starting the conversation. The tables have turned. I am in control. She came over to where I was standing, in front of the oven. I was making sure the bread didn't burn. So what's up with you? Not much, just waiting for J.D. to go to the chair. He didn't kill her, Maureen said. Of course he did. You didn't hear him confess. I heard it. There's a confession scene in the movie? That's pretty funny. An old lady came in and ordered an egg salad sandwich to go. She went, I don't think he did it. I'm telling you he did it, I said, but Maureen shook her head. Channel 6 has been running the reruns of Trauma Center all week. Yesterday was that episode with the cocaine addict. I knew that one. Dr. Sharkey saved the addict's life by taking the bullet for him. Dr. Sharkey almost died. It was a good episode, a great episode. It was television at its best. People tuned into that same show last night and watched and felt the same feeling. All these people in front of their television sets, their rooms dark and quiet, everyone connected for that 1 hour. Maureen continued, I saw that and said to myself, Dr. Sharkey could never kill his wife. Never. But it's not Dr. Sharkey, I told her. It's J.D. McKnight. It's the same person, Dwayne. I saw his eyes. They don't lie. The phone rang and I picked it up, and it was a guy looking for Maureen. I asked who it was, but he just said, Get me Maureen. So I did. It was a guy named Mark. Maureen played with her hair while talking on the phone. They talked about J.D. Maureen twirled her hair around her fingers like the telephone cord and laughed a lot. I kept my eyes on the loaves of bread. This guy that I work with, Dwayne, she said without looking at me, thinks that J.D.'s guilty. Then she laughed a kind of laugh that bites. There's no goodness in that kind of laugh. It's just mean. I stood there in front of the rows of bread, watching them burn. February 13th. Deep in my trench coat pocket, the knife felt good and comfortable in my left hand. I can do this, I told myself over and over again. I can do this. It's really easy. Last night would have been the last day of shooting, but it rained. Tonight was sunny and cold, exactly like the night J.D. McKnight murdered his wife of 12 years. Tonight's the night, the director said. He was wearing his green cowboy hat and brown scarf, except his hat had a little yellow ribbon paper-clipped on its side. It's just something I do on the last day of the shoot, he confessed. What's the final scene? I asked him. Something really beautiful. Is it where J.D. shoots Bernadette? The director laughed. You have a really deadpan kind of humor, Dwayne. I like it. It's very Stephen Wright-ish. The bang bang scene you're talking about happened long before you came on the set. No, Dwayne, tonight's scene may break your heart. J.D. and Bernadette were sitting in Madison Square Park, right under that great big black statue. J.D. sprang up, extended his arms, and slowly turned on the balls of his feet. Do you ever just think about it all? J.D. asked Bernadette McLaughlin, his future wife-to-be. She cupped her gloved hands and blew into them for warmth. Not really. J.D. sat down next to her and took her hands. That's exactly why I love you so much. You're sweet, Bernadette said. They leaned forward and touched forehead to forehead. I want more, J.D. said. There are times when holding you or making love to you isn't enough, not even close. You want to know the truth? She nodded. Those times I think I want to eat you, swallow you whole like a python. She laughed. Marry me and make me the happiest man in the world. I was crying. It was so beautiful. The director squeezed my shoulder and smiled warmly. He mouthed, I told you. I nodded. I held my knife a little tighter. Cut, the director yelled. That's it, folks. We're finished. Everybody cheered. J.D. and Bernadette hugged. Lights were blinking out one by one. Can you believe I actually killed you? J.D. said to her. They were cracking up. Bang, 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 you bastard, Bernadette said, cocking her thumb and aiming with her index finger. I ran up to J.D. and shoved the knife, edge side up, deep in his stomach. J.D. coughed. Bernadette screamed. Everyone backed away. In 4 quick in-and-out thrusts, I made my way up his stomach. J.D. fell forward and I pushed him away. His belly was open and steaming, and my hands were warm with his blood. February 14th. They kept saying I did the wrong thing, that he isn't J.D., that he was somebody named Maxwell McKeon, an actor. I know they are right, but my lawyer told me to say otherwise. Dwayne, you did not kill Maxwell McKeon. You killed J.D. It's really hard to explain, I told him. It's a lot more complicated than that. He just nodded and said, very deliberately, you did not kill Maxwell McKeon. You killed J.D. McKnight. He's been wearing me down. Like a good boxer, he just gets stronger as the rounds go on. I'm not a very good boxer. My lawyer's a nice guy, though. He wears a really nice suit and walks around with a black briefcase and a pair of shiny black shoes. Can I call somebody? I asked him. He handed me his cellular. I pressed a couple of buttons, but it just beeped. He took it back. What number? He asked me, sounding tired. I told him. Oh, Jesus, Maureen said. Dwayne, Jesus God Almighty, Dwayne, why did you do it? Why? Do you believe me now, Maureen? I asked her. "Oh, Dwayne," she said. "Oh, Dwayne," she said. "Oh, Dwayne, is this that one phone call you get? And you called me? Me?" "My lawyer said that he can get me off, but I'll have to stay in a nut house for a little while." "Oh, Jesus," she said. "Will you wait for me, Maureen? Will you?" She hung up and my lawyer took back his phone. Then he left and it was back to the cell for me. On the way, I caught a glimpse of the television the other inmates were watching. I wasn't close enough to hear what the news anchor was saying, but they were showing the scene between me and JD. Then my Employee of the Week photo at UltraSub, which was taken about half a year ago, filled the whole goddamn screen. Finally, I said to myself, the good people of the world are taking back television. Me and Jesus H. Christ and Superman. So there you have it, my contribution to OJ-themed literature. Those were some crazy times, weren't they? If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. The dancing Edos on Jay Leno's show. Almost as crazy as the now times. We are almost at the end of this particular podcast journey. 2 more to go. Next time we'll head back to 2009, though the story itself takes place in the future. Until then, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Spoken into the Ether is created by me, Sung Jae Woo. The lovely bits of music were provided by Lloyd Richards and his Transitions sound effects.